What is going on, everyone? And how are you doing? I'm doing great. Amanda, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Full spoilers. We're talking direction, characters, what worked, what didn't work, thoughts for Part 8, and we'll maybe give some box office predictions because right now, let's talk about the ending, Amanda. So at this point in the film, we lost my favorite character in Elsa. We have the conversation about recruiting Grace to being a part of this Mission Impossible force to take on the mission. And I think you said it in one of your throwback reviews how I love how this franchise shows us what they're going to do. And we kind of pull back. So they show Grace by telling her, oh, this is how we're going to do it. We're going to jump on the plane. Everything's smooth. I'm like, damn, this is happening pretty smoothly. But obviously, that was just the exposition of it all. She has the choice to put on the White Widow's face, and she does. We're on the train to meet the buyer who comes out to be Kidrix, who's not a bad guy. He's just the government. The government's trying to get their hands on the power of the key. But the actual bad guy who's trying to get under was Carrie character, who was the intelligence leader or whatever he was. He's trying to cut a deal with Gabriel. Gabriel kills him because he knows the location of where the source code is. And however you want to take it, Amanda, what did you think about the third act? Because I think, I'm just going to put it out there, and I'll share my thoughts after yours. The jumping off the cliff was fine. It happened too quick for me, but the whole buildup was it was super quick. But the train sequence falling apart, Amanda, probably my favorite set piece of this franchise, up there with the bridge in Mission Impossible 3, climbing a skyscraper, airplane fight in Fallout. I was on the edge of my seat, and also for my video game fans out there, it reminded me so much of Uncharted 2 with the Nathan Drake train sequence. But wherever you want to take it, Amanda, I'm going to pass the baton to you. What did you think about this third act?
I don't even have words for it because I do have one nitpick that I'm going to start with.
Yeah.
Vanessa Kirby has gorgeous blue eyes.
Take it away. Thank you. I thought I was tripping. Did they give her contacts? She had like red eyes. Like, did no one not notice her eye change?
I'm like, gorgeous blue eyes. Kittredge knew her when she was
a kid. Yeah.
Really, Atwell's walking in with the mask, and they gave the brown-eyed eye contacts to Vanessa.
Her brother, her freaking brother.
Her own brother. I'm like, what? And you know what?
I'm so glad you called that out because I thought I was tripping.
No, it's legit. I was looking at it, and I'm like, but they're not this dumb. Like, they would have given her contact lenses to make it, you know what I mean? Like, it just didn't make sense. That was my one nitpick. I'm like, guys,
I thought I was tripping, Amanda. Like, I thought, like, maybe she wears contact, and they just don't, because he's like, oh, you changed your clothes, and maybe she changed her eyes. I'm like, did she just smoke a joint while she was wet? She changed. Yes, thank you so much for bringing up Amanda, because I thought I was the only one. I was like, why does she look like her eyes are clearly not her? But take it away.
No, it annoyed me because I'm like, they're agents and they've been doing this for 3 decades, but they're not going to give her eye contact. Okay, the contact lenses. I'm like, okay. But the train leading into the train sequence.
Yeah.
I really thought that the stunt of him flying off the cliff was going to be it. I'm like, this is going to be like a clean cut.
They've been building it up for like 3 years. Yeah.
I thought the editing was a bit rough because it took too long for him to get to the cliff because they had to do that entire exchange. So I'm like, that was the only thing that was off for me in that third act.
Yeah.
But this train, I did not breathe. I did not breathe. I'm like, one of them is dying, but it was like one down.
Yes, it was like a video game. It was literally like the kitchen scene, the dining scene, the freaking piano. Oh, Amanda. Oh my goodness, it was so exhilarating.
And I'm like, I'm thinking the whole time, I'm like, but their upper body strength. Like, how the hell are you doing this? And I just didn't know. I didn't know when it was going to end, and I didn't know where it was going to end. And I had that same feeling with Across the Spider-Verse too, because when you watch it again, you're like more at ease. You're like, okay, cool. Like, I know when it's going to end, it's fine. Here, I'm like, this could have gone on for another hour with this train just like completely like crashing. But I've never felt that. Like the level of anxiety, like this was worse than the ending of Top Gun Maverick for me. Like, I was sweating buckets. I needed a stiff drink.
Yeah.
Like, insanity.
It's so good. It's so good. It is so good.
Take it away, because that was just.
I will also not to kill the mood of this amazing scene. I will say another nitpick to me, and this is just a Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt is just like Indiana Jones. They have their superpowers like luck. The fact that when he was flying through the air, that he was able to find that train, that the cart that they were in, and kick off, because they were going to kill Grace at that point to give the key up. I'm like, come on, the man had no control of where he was going to go. But anyway, minus that, you said it perfectly, Amanda. It kept escalating, because you would have thought after maybe one or two trains they would have found, but no, they kept heightening the sense of like urgency and the tension, and the train just kept coming down, which in reality that would be the case. Like that momentum, that train was going, I don't know how fast when Gabriel took off the brakes and all that, which, by the way, to tie into the finale, Ethan and him fight on the train. Don't kill him. We need his information. He doesn't kill him. He holds back, and he pickpocket the key, which, to any complaints out there about this maybe feeling like part one of a part two, this is a complete story, regardless of how it wraps up. The objection was to get the key, and he got the key at the end of the film. Now, obviously, we're going to see what the key opens in the second one, but it is a beginning, middle, and end. But again, that scene, Amanda, was so great. And to bring it back to Palm as Paris, Gabriel betrays her, which I will mention, I forgot to say this about Gabriel. The sleeping pod, are they going to make it out, Amanda, to make it seem he's some type of half human, half cyborg thing? Because he was in this pod. There's a scene where when Paris wakes him up and he's like connected to the entity. And it's just like, where are they exactly going with how connected he's the chosen one for the entity? I'm like, this entity thing is just so annoying. But Paris saves him, Ethan, when they're hanging down. She's going to be brought back. Grace is recruited. Tom, Ethan goes off on the parachute, and finale. And Grace being recruited by Kidrix, is she going to be the mole? Like, she's still going to be working with Ethan and giving him insight whenever they're coming for him, she can tell, or is she just going to go full heel? Like, what do you think that angle is going to go with her being recruited to the CIA and everything?
That's a very good question, actually. Oh my God, she really did bother me this entire movie. It's just because of choices made. Like, I understand that you don't want to trust him, but you also have no idea what the hell you're stealing at the same time. So, like, what if someone's saying, like, give me what you have, the thing that you stole, because there are people that are trying to kill you? Yeah, sure, man, no problem. Like, why are you holding on to it? You know what I mean? So that the whole thing was weird. But there are choices made in this third act, especially when she's talking to Kittredge as White Widow, where you see that she does have this tie to Ethan now to do the right thing.
Do the right thing, yeah. She could. Was it 100 million? Was it 100 million?
I think so, yeah. So she has a second chance, and Ethan's giving her that. So I don't think that she's gonna like flip on him. She could do like a double agent,
yeah.
That
like
type of
Jeremy Renner's character, how he worked with Ethan, but he was still kind of playing that, making the CIA thinks that he's, but he was helping Ethan the same as he can kind of replace that.
I think that's what's going to end up happening. I think that's going to end up happening. But I think this ending, compared to a lot of endings that end on a part one and a cliffhanger, like you said, complete story, tied together. It would kind of bookend too, because Kittredge spoke like towards the beginning, and then he spoke at the end about IMF and who Ethan was and all of that. So like I don't want to wait that long for part two, but it's so
these are coming, I think. Which I guess that kind of the segue and to wrap up the conversation with our part two theories. What do you think will happen with part two, Mission Impossible 8? Are we looking at immediate actions? We're going to pick right back up with the story left. Are we going to have a time jump of Grace working within the system, train coming out different, Paris now part of the team? We have Luther. He's going off. He said he's got to do something, off site so the entity doesn't find them. Like, what do you anticipate? I wish I would have saved that. I wish I could give this person credit. I saw it on Twitter the other day. There's a shot where they promoted the trailer for this film, and there's Christopher McQuarrie and Tom Cruise are on like on an airplane. Someone had suggested, and they're not like newer airplanes, they're like old school airplanes. They suggested that part 8 is or Mission Impossible 8 will be the entity like does its thing and like wipes out technology. And we're going to have to see, as you mentioned earlier, these older agents like a Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt using old school CIA tactics of like not relying on technology and riding old analog planes and like having all this kind of throwback technology. That I was like, oh, that is a genius idea. I hope that comes true. But what do you think will come of part 2 and how this is all going to culminate? Is Ethan going to die, Amanda?
Don't say it. Don't put that out there.
He's gonna risk his life, put it all on the line.
You know what? I really like that theory. I think
I like it too. I wish I would have saved it if I give them credit.
Yeah, I think that's just such a refreshing take, considering the buildup is all about this AI, and we can control it, right? We can.
And to see it like we only saw it take out the submarine in this one. Like, let's see what it can do. Like, let's see what Havoc can do, Reckoning it can do, and to wipe out all technology, communication. People got to go back to like, I don't know, sending pigeons for messages or using Morse code. Like, I would like that idea. That would be pretty cool to scale it, not scale it back from the sense of like the stunts, but like to scale it back to not having technology, the mask, cars, all that stuff would be pretty intriguing to me. Just kind of like savage. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's naturally like the progression of it. Like something has to break in order for us to find some like normalcy in living again. So I think that if any of you guys can pull that off to kind of speak to audiences in our current like our social climate, I think that would be genius to do. I do think, to answer your question before, I do think that we are going to have a time jump, because if she already told Kittredge, like, she needs time to kind of adjust to IMF, she needs time to train, because she's not trained, right?
Not very green.
Well, I think that's the best option, is a time jump.
Okay. Are we talking months or years?
I'd say a couple of months.
Okay. Months,
not a year. Yeah. I think months-wise, like Ethan and Benji are trying to figure this stuff out on their own, like off the grid. And then maybe like Luther has enough time to do whatever he has to do and come back as well. So I think months would be the easiest thing. If it's a year, that would just change.
It's a lot of off-screen development. Like, what has, like, the entity hasn't destroyed the world at this point, or if it has, like, we just missed so much. So I think months works for me as well. Final question before we get to the box office. Any returning characters, not just from Paris and obviously CIA agents and everyone from this film besides Elsa, R.I.P. But I don't know. One of my biggest things with part 3, Amanda, was like Maggie Q was like, bring her back. Is a Maggie Q or Paula Pattinson? I know Jeremy Renner's recovering after his horrific incident. But that was in December. They were shooting. They didn't shoot this back to back, but maybe they got some. I don't like. Who do you think? We got Kittredge gonna like. Do you think there's gonna be any returning characters from the old regime, old team that could appear in part 8? I keep saying part 2, Mission Impossible 8.
Yeah, I know. It's like, it's tough to like say it. I would low-key love. This is not going to happen.
Yeah,
but I would love if Thandaway Newton came back.
Ooh. And it just to her side. My man was hooking up with her too, and he's married in the third. Like, what happened?
You know what I mean? I think that would be really interesting. She won't come back because I don't know. I don't think she has the best memories of MI2 from what I remember her saying. But I would love like Maggie Q. Jeremy Renner's the obvious choice here.
I had so much fun with him in that rewatch, man. I forgot that he was just he was the one that was like, he was the audience. He's like, what are you doing? You're just doing things off luck. I love Brent. Right? He was such a fun character. I would love to see him back too.
And like, I think people forget how talented he is because he doesn't really have much. Now, I don't want to say he doesn't have much to do in with Hawkeye as a character, but like, if you watch him in like Bourne Legacy, you watch him in MI, you're like, he's damn funny. Like, his comedic timing is great, his banter is amazing, and he's a really good like action star. Technically, like, they were gonna plan a whole other 3 movies with the Bourne trilogy.
There you go.
So
Jeremy Renner was, like you mentioned, he is still as a star, right? I mean, of course, people a lot know him from Hawkeye, but yeah, you're so right, Amanda. They wanted to give him the torch for Mission or Bourne. Also, they wanted to give him Mission Impossible, if I'm not mistaken, because I think before Christopher McQuarrie rewrote Part 4, there was an idea for Ethan to be like the head of the MI department, like the leader, and then have Brent be the guy on the field. That was like a point at plot at point, but obviously they didn't do that. And I think that's smart. No disrespect to Jeremy Renner, but yeah, he is an action guy. I would love, and to take it back to his injury, he doesn't have to be in the field. He can just be, kind of not like a Val Kilmer extent of him being in Mission Impossible. Maverick, but you can have Brenner on the phone, shoot a scene of him on the phone or helping him out on I don't know. I would love to see him. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I would honestly, like, I think he was such a fresh addition. Like, I know that Rebecca Ferguson came in, but like when Renner came in too, that's why I think Ghost Protocol is like so fun to watch too at the same time. And then, like Rogue Nation, they like came in at different times and it was just so good.
I agree. Yeah. One more thing. If it's not Ethan Hunt that's dying, potentially, hopefully not. Luther and Benji, are they on the chopping block?
No.
I
think people will riot if either one of them. When that happened in what was it? Rogue Nation, Ghost Protocol. When Benji had the bomb with Solomon Lane, Rogue Nation.
Rogue Nation, yeah.
I was ready to fight. There's no way. They're not expendable. I think that would literally break Ethan apart if anything were to happen to either.
Do it. I think Luther's gonna be the one too, because he's the OG. He's been there since the beginning, Amanda. He's doing his little side mission, and Gabriel, he might like, you took my key. I'm gonna take another one of your friends, and finds Luther. I would hate it. I'm not gonna speak that into existence. Don't speak that in Ricky Bobby. Maybe I think one of them will probably bite the dust. Potentially.
We'll if they're gonna take one, they might as well take both.
I'll take them out, swipe them out.
Because like I can't choose. I don't think they'll be able to choose.
Well, I'll say, if I had a gun to my head, Amanda, I gotta go Vin Rames, man, because he's been there since day one.
I know.
And he's the one that, like, he like you said, he builds. He's a hype man. He hypes up Ethan. Fallout. Do we cut the wire? Where is he? He's gonna do it. He's there. He's always believing in Ethan. But I just thought about it, Amanda. No. And was it Fallout where Ethan saved Vin Rames? Now Luther has his chance to save Ethan. He's gonna sacrifice himself and pay it forward.
There you go. You wrote it. You wrote it now. You wrote it, and now it's gonna happen. And just
Did they bring Julia back? Is she gonna come back?
You know what? Like, I also, side note, I never really liked that entire storyline.
Neither.
That's why I didn't like MI3. That's literally why I didn't like MI3. I
never buy into their romance. We just introduced. She's just there. They're married. They're happy. I nothing against what's her name? Michelle. Yeah, nothing against her. But I just never really bought into that romance and that love story. Just never really. It worked for me more. I think you even said so in your review of Fallout. It worked for me more in Fallout than it did in their entire thing in 2 or 3. And also it was a little, it was a nice little moment too in Ghost Protocol. But yeah, maybe they bring her back and her husband. They have kids now, and they're gonna. I don't know. We'll see.
Because you were bad. Oh my god, that'd be so funny.
Oh, we'll see. Amanda, thank y'all for accepting this mission and joining us and talking about this film. We'll catch you all on the next video. Yeah.